of selling. You've been selling for a long time. You're also a master teacher for salespeople for a long time. And I'm going to leave it to you to give us some background. If you can start telling us what's your background and as it relates to sales, right? And then we'll go into the AI component afterwards. But share with us where, what's your background?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I have been selling for over 30 years now, multiple fields, multiple companies, multiple businesses, different business as well. So I started selling veterinary products a long time ago, and progressed to consulting, selling consulting, such as sales training and sales process design and things like that. And AI is pretty recent acquisition for me in terms of toolkit. It is still something that I'm learning, but I have been using it for a little over a year. I started very simply by recording, using AI tools to record the meetings, so I could pay more attention to what the client was saying at the time the client was saying it, instead of being too concerned about my notes. So I'm because of that, my notes are briefer, less detailed. It's much more about what really caught my attention, and then I go over the summary. I go over sometimes the transcript of the meeting, and I try to locate exact the exact words, expressions the client used to describe the problem or the opportunity or the need or not for making a change. And it has been very helpful. There are a number of AI tools that do that, and uh, and and it's a learning process. So trying to use one and the other, trying to find the one that resonates more with me. So thinks like me, uh, and but it's also at some time critical enough for me to get a good feedback on the assumptions I'm making.
That's
And
fantastic.
then more recently, I've been using ChatGPT mostly to review and improve whatever communication I have. If it's I'm sending a message, a text message, or an email, since sometimes I do that in different languages. So I ask the ChatGPT to translate. I read, adjust, ask questions, and I feel that my messages are more target now, more precise.
That's fantastic. And I see neural selling, humans powered by AI, the logo right above to your right. If you don't mind sharing with us, what is that about?
Neuroselling is a startup for sales training.
Hmm.
It's benefit from the fact that it's new, so we can build on whatever happened before in terms of information, ideas, and the main idea behind the name and what we offer as a service is that you need a human to really use AI. You cannot delegate your selling to AI. It is a tool, and it's important that you understand that it's not that okay. Now I'm using AI and I'm gonna sell like crazy. It's much more that you are going to sell better and better, better and better. So it's a continuous curve in terms of applications. So now what I've been using is I've developed prompts that I offer my clients based on the methodology that I teach, so they can themselves use AI, starting from the same point. So instead of people having to figure out the first conversation with AI, I provide a model and they can use that and improve on that. So now I'm trying to find ways that the prompts are exchanged between all the people that are using them. So we always have the newest prompt, and it's a collective creation with the clients. So it's the very beginning, and also for coaching. So you can have you the sellers tend to be very lonely. They tend to work alone, and the AI can be a coach. The AI can be someone to bounce back ideas. But again, it's not just any AI, and it's not just any questions. You need to interact enough for the AI to have an idea of what you mean when you say a certain expression and what we were looking to achieve with that particular prompt. And this is continual learning from both parts. That's we are trying to do. So the idea is that humans can be powered by AI, uh, but AI is not the end. It is just a tool and a means for you to sell better.
Yeah, it's fantastic. If somebody wants to reach out and learn from you, what do they need to do how do they connect to you?
Well, we are so new that we don't have a website yet. So
Okay, great. So
it
maybe
is on
send
my,
an email
yeah.
to you.
They can look up from on LinkedIn
Perfect.
or my email at first.
I love it.
But soon enough, we will have a website. We are finalized. We had to speed things up a little bit, so we were considering launch later in the year, but we have demand now, so we need to be out there.
Love this. And understand that you have clients, and with those clients you've been applying and helping them using ChatGPT and other AI tools. What have you found to be most effective as you introduce AI into your teachings of those sales methodologies? Where have you seen the most impact, and what are
Yeah,
some gotchas you need to be watching out for?
selling is about performing in front of a client.
Hmm,
So a lot of sales training tend to be theoretical
hmm,
or generic. So what I think AI is helping in my particular experience is that if you use AI during the training, so a lot of the things that you ask people to do, like think about a client and the situation the client's facing, and use that in this particular exercise. You can have a prompt, and we do have a prompt that people can use real time during in the classroom to instead of take 15 minutes to think about a client or the client's issues, you can you can use a prompt and have those informations in front of you in your computer, and then you can concentrate on the most important. How do I use this information? How do I use this information to ask questions, to design my message, for this particular movement that I'm trying to emulate here in the training? How do I do that instead of what are the ideas or concepts behind? So you learn the concept the good concepts need to be simple, and you learn the concept and you immediately apply it. So we free time for people to perform, to simulate a performance in front of a client conversation, or even simulate how they would research about the client. So if I'm having a meeting with Harold, for example, who is Harold? I've never met him. So I can go online, and if the person has a online presence in LinkedIn or websites, and you can use that. Instead of going over pages, over pages, over pages, you can have with a simple prompt this research done to you. And then Harold's no longer a stranger. It is someone that I'm more familiar with. So I instead of asking a lot of silly questions, I can go direct to what is important to Harold.
You know, you said something very interesting at the beginning. You said that selling is a performing, um, it's a question of how you perform in front of the clients. Did I hear this correctly?
Yes, yeah, yeah. The
Help me,
idea is that,
yeah,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah. So help me understand what you mean by this, meaning that to be a great salesperson, right? It's not just about information, but it's really as you go there and have that conversation with the client, how you perform in those moments. Is this what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah, you have to be very clear what is your goal in each interaction,
Hmm.
not just for yourself, but also for the client. So in each interaction with the client, what both are looking to achieve is a good decision. So basically, the decision is that in the first level is that do I continue having conversations with this seller, or this is not for me? And this decision is pretty much about how the seller and the buyer connect. So how the seller interact with with uh, with the client real time. It is about performance in that sense.
Hmm. So in performance, I completely hear you. In other words, in that moment, the salesperson really has to be of service to the client in the best way possible. So is it fair to say that if you're not using AI, you're not going to have the best possible conversation with the clients? Because one of the things that AI does for people, it just aggregates information at such a faster speed, right? So that when you do have the chance of having the conversation, it's a much more effective conversation. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think you can start further in the intimacy
Mm.
level with the clients if you have
Mm.
AI. So
Higher intimacy. Okay.
yeah,
I like
you
that.
can
That's a great one.
progress that by doing a good research. And then again, how you connect with AI is important because if you are too broad in your research, you have too much information. And it's impossible for you to do anything with too much information. It's just
Okay.
data. It's not information. It's not insight. So, but if you do a good research using AI and you in your interaction with AI, the model summarizes in a usable way, then instead of silly questions that people tend to ask, like how many people work for you or what is the revenue of your company, or things like that, that
Mm.
sometimes people feel obligated to ask, you have those informations. If you feel that you need to bring those information into the conversation, you can just confirm. So it's a much simpler, faster way for you to cover the basics with the client.
I love that. And so let me ask you this. Let's say you're an experienced salesperson. Let's say you've been working for, a very powerful company, S&P 500 kind of a company, Fortune 1000 company, and you've been doing this for 20 years and you haven't been using AI so far. You've been using the old ways of doing things, which is talking to people, calling people, going to the meeting and discovering things there on that spot. What do you recommend for somebody like this to get onto the A bandwagon? What would be steps one for somebody who's really zero in terms of using any of that? What would you suggest?
Well, I think the very first step is research.
Okay.
So, what do I need to know about my client before, or my prospect, before I have a conversation? So this is the very first. And maybe if you got a good information, a good experience doing that, I would say the next step is to interact with the model, any AI model. You have to find the best one for you around your process, around your sales methodology or sales process. So if you have, for example, if you have a sales process that is well defined, has a lot of gates and decision points, for you to reach that gate, to reach that decision point, you need to have a particular design of an information for you to process, and AI can help you if you you teach the AI that this is your process. These are the questions that you need answered, and you provide enough information. You provide. I have a dual experience in that, because whenever I'm meeting someone that has a very strong presence online, it's easier. And if I don't, then it is, if I'm interacting with someone that doesn't go online that often, or doesn't go to LinkedIn, use LinkedIn, then it's a different perspective. So, and then there is a risk, because AI tend to guess. It is a guessing model. So they can assume some information, and sometimes some numbers, and that can be tricky. So I would say ask for sources, confirmation, and check the sources if the number seem strange. So I would start with researching. I would then maybe feed the model with my sales model, my sales process, and also maybe in between these two, you could use for communication. A lot of BDMs are using for creating answers to clients. So client log into the website and request a conversation with a consultant. So maybe instead of sending to any consultant, you can have a few questions that you can send beforehand, so you can direct that. And this can be automated with AI.
So what I'm hearing from you is that if I haven't used AI yet, just get yourself onto one of those AI machines, whether it's ChatGPT, Perplexity, what have you, and then sort of like communicate to it who you are and what sales methodologies you use in order for it to learn about you, right? So that it can give you answers that are going to serve
Yeah.
you better when you're in front of the clients. And here comes in the next question. So let's say, okay, I want to be on this AI bandwagon. I want to help. I want to have AI help me sell more. Help me in terms of the prep, right? Because if you think about it, you can actually not only get a lot of information about the client through AI in a much faster way, but also the preparation is much stronger. So, for instance, you can type in what are the biggest challenges that this client is having? What are the possible biggest objections that I'm going to get from this client, given the choices they have, given my competitors? How do you use AI to prep yourself, for really tough, like you say, for a tough performance there when you have the chance then to meet the clients?
Yeah, it's pretty much using my model or my sales model. I use mine, but you can use anyone's model for that matter. But I know I have clarity around what I need to know, and then my research about the client is based on what I need to know to have a good conversation. So I'm a little concerned when you use questions. What are the issues around such and such topic for this particular client? This is this the AI will give you an answer, not
Mm.
necessarily a correct one. So you have to find a way to 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 direct the model so it doesn't give you a generic answer. So if you try, for example, what are the issues this company has around organizational culture, for example, and you do that question to several, and you just do that question to several different companies, I bet you have the same answers.
Hmm.
They will say the same. The AI will tell you that they all
It's
have the
not
same.
specific enough to know about
It's
that
not a
particular client.
specific
I
enough.
got it.
So you need a second line on the prompt,
Okay.
and you need to feed information to make it specific to that company, and better yet, to that the person or persons that you are about to have a meeting with.
So you need to
So
be
it's
very precise and very concise as
yeah,
interacting with the
yeah.
AI.
The way and it's funny because I'm doing that with AI. So whenever I reach an answer that I like, my next question is, okay, what is the prompt that would generate that with just one entrance, the minimum information possible, and then AI gives me an answer.
Hmm.
ChatGPT does that, and all other tools do that. Other models do that as well. So, and then, and this is uh, step zero for the going further. You need to continue uh, uh, improving on the prompt. So whatever after a day work on research, I advise people to, okay, now ask the model to give you a prompt for the results you were liking now. And my experience is that this month's prompt is not next month. It'll be a different one because you'll find, oh, I need to adjust that so I have this answer. Oh, it's a
So,
continuous
so how,
process.
so this is interesting, Paulo. So let's say, like I said, I'm not used to using ChatGPT or any AI system at all. I'm in sales. I've been very successful. So what I'm hearing from you is it does make sense to invest time getting to create those prompts, to create some relationship with the AI in order for it to be better prepared, but also to give you better information, more quality information. So when you enter the meeting, you're much better prepared. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes.
How much time do you think somebody should spend? Or invest, or like how serious should you take this in terms of your time during a week?
No, right now I'm using a lot. So
Like a
I'm
lot means
using
what?
all day long. I'm
All day
always asking
long?
questions with the AI.
Wow.
Whenever I'm not having conversations, I'm using AI to prepare, to to design communication and things like that. What's interesting, the recent experience that I have, I've, I've I just worked with the client, and at the end of the session, we agreed on next steps where I would help them coaching on real opportunities. So they need to bring me those opportunities so I could assess if they were using that. And what I started to do is that using the same chat that generated the model that they are using to assess if they are doing well. And I did 4 or 5 rounds. The last one was much better than the first. It's much better, and now I'm able to go back to the client. Okay, this is where you are doing really well. This is where you have opportunity to improve,
Hmm.
and this is a suggestion that you can use.
Hmm.
So,
So just going back to the
and
very
and
beginning.
in terms of time, so you asked about time. In terms of time, the first one I took me 2 hours. The last one took me 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So
So as you get better at it, you get more efficient, more effective.
yeah, you can do
Okay.
you free time to do other things.
It's interesting, Paulo, because if I look at you, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you weren't using AI that much, right? But now you're using it much
Not at
more.
all. I was not using at all.
And how much, because there is an investment in time that you have to spend in the AI. How much time is this opening up? Because before it would take you probably much longer to get all that information to begin with, right? Because it seems like to me that the more time you invest, the higher the intimacy, the higher the personalization, and the better your advice and your recommendations to the clients. Fair?
Yes, but what is interesting is not just that takes less time, makes for a better result.
Okay.
So I, I I was okay with a very basic level of research about the client. So I was okay to go into a meeting
Hmm.
knowing maybe the name of the company, who is the person I'm talking, the position the person holds in the company, maybe the area, some idea of about revenue, and I would probe around maybe using a generic questions like what are the problems this client have with this topic, and because of what I'm selling, I know the pain points, typical pain points. I just don't know if the client feel them.
Hmm.
So I would probe on those pain
To see
points.
which ones are the real pain points.
Now I can maybe focus on the one that because of my research the client's really feeling. So
Hmm.
because there is maybe there is a post on LinkedIn that says that this is a problem, or celebrate a result they 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 just had. So I have someone tangible, something tangible for a conversation instead of generic probing. I have more specific probing. So I can even propose at the beginning of the meeting. From what I understand, you are trying to reach a decision on that.
Hmm.
Is that a fair assessment? Yeah. Okay. And what I prevent you to take a decision, or why kept you from taking a decision before? So it's a much richer conversation, a much more specific conversation. I'm telling the client that I took the time to learn about you.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to ask you silly questions. Some people would say stupid, but silly questions. Like I had I had a client once that sold
Ah.
8 solutions, and the very first question, what your company does. That so I imagine for the client, what's the message? You didn't even look to see what kind of things I'm manufacturing. So why am
Yeah.
I going to give you my time if you don't know the basics? So now I show up. Yeah, I not just only know the basics, I know a lot about your
Hmm.
specific issues. So
Well,
this is different. It's quality
you
more than
you're much more surgical, right? The quality of, so isn't it fair to say too, though, and then you can qualify your leads much better just through that because
yeah.
you can pinpoint this person has a problem that I really can help with and serve with in a differentiated way. That too is makes it much more pointed, right, in terms of who you can help because you have that much more information. You're much more like what you said. Instead of going for generic probing, you're really specific. It's like, look, this is where you need some help with, and here's where I can help you.
Yeah, yeah,
Powerful.
and you even if you need to escalate the discussion, you need to go higher in the
Mm,
decision structure. Even that is well, I wouldn't say easier, but maybe faster to reach the point that the person that's talking to you say, okay, I can't handle the questions. I can't handle this. This is a bigger decision than my budget, but is an important one. So I will bring my boss, or I will bring someone else from the company. So
mhm.
you you can create a case for the decision to be really with the decision makers that need to be in that decision. Because I used to say that you enter an account through the door that is opened to you.
Mm-hmm.
So not necessarily you are in the first door that opens to you is the most
entry.
important part. It is the point of entry. So you are not going to say, no, I'm not going to talk to you. You are going to talk to anybody that wants to talk to you. But you need to make a case that that person needs to give you access if, in fact, they want to reach a quality decision.
Mm.
So it is instead of you saying to the person, look, you were low, you were very low in the decision process. So you are not going to have the budget, the authority to decide on that. So unless you bring someone else, I'm not going to talk to you anymore because I don't feel that this is a good investment for my time. But you can help that person realize that this is a very important discussion or decision that they need to reach, and that that person can't reach the decision by herself or himself, and wants to bring someone else. So instead of being in a discussion where you belittle the person by saying that you don't have authority or budget, whatever, you okay, you were part of a very important decision. Let's bring someone that can help you or who you can help make a decision.
Love that.
It's
And well, actually, from that perspective, what I'm hearing from you is that number one, it's all about that door, right? You got to make through that. Once you're inside the door, right now you're in the castle, so to speak. Are you using ChatGPT or AI to help you actually navigate inside the castle, who the king or queen is, and that
yeah,
sort of stuff? Is that helping you from that perspective as
yeah,
well?
yeah, because if the person has a path online, sometimes the ChatGPT can guess the connection. So
Mm.
they can go and say, okay, this person is. They can go on LinkedIn and say that this person is connected to this person, and this seems to be a higher position. So maybe this person reports to that person. So you can use that information. Okay, I feel that this is for example, I feel this discussion would be would benefit a lot. Would benefit a lot if we bring so and so to that decision,
Mm.
to that discussion. So you can guide the person.
So in other words, an AI there too will help navigate or at least give a structure of do the account planning, right? How are you going to
Yeah,
penetrate the account correctly, and
and
how are you going to bring the right decision
imagine,
makers? Yeah.
imagine if you were doing that without AI. What
Mm.
would you do? You would have to go
Well,
to LinkedIn. You have to
yeah,
have access to that person in LinkedIn.
yeah.
You would have a connection and then go to the list of contacts. Some people have thousands of contacts in on LinkedIn. So how do I
Wow.
filter? So
Mm.
it's a much more time-consuming process.
Well, and it's funny because, we discussed this, Paulo, before, right? Because selling, it's a science, right? And that takes a lot of elements for you to be successful in, especially the complex sales cycle. And what's interesting is that you see ChatGPT and AI will help you give you better information so that you help clients make a better decision. But it also help you actually penetrate it and work the account in such a more efficient way, right? Because that too, it's a game of information. And that too is where, these systems make a big difference. Having said that, at the end of the day, though, you still have to have the conversations with clients, correct? And from what I understand from you, and I thought that was fascinating as you were telling me this, as you were teaching one of your last clients, you thought that you want to emphasize more the delivery, right? Once you're in front of a client, it's all about having impact in that moment. elaborate on this, right? In other words, what I'm hearing is that AI can take you so much, but there comes a moment where then you have to step in and then you have to be very good at
Yeah,
maximizing those interaction points, right? The moments of conversations are very, very important.
yeah. The skill
The skill.
play a big role in sales. And skill is something that you can learn, but it's something that is can be helped with the right information, the right model. So it's like any skill, you need to
To
go
work on,
on
yeah,
over
that's
and over and over, and each performance is can help you have a better one next time.
mhm,
So it's the idea of the sports, the athlete,
mhm.
that at the end of the game, even when there is a win, what can I do better next time? What can I do better next time? So, and it's a continual improvement process. And you can't delegate that to AI in terms of you can have your AI model talk to the client's AI model and reach a decision. You need to interact with the client, and and you use the medium that you have. So here in Brazil, it's not uncommon for people to have long conversations using WhatsApp. So
With a
it's
client. Yeah,
with a client, and
yeah.
I joke about that. We invented the radio because you record a message and you send the message. The client answers and takes the same time to be talking to someone, but that's the process, and you can improve a lot on what to say you say to the client and what you interpret from what the client has said using AI.
Hmm.
So and
No, that's fascinating because if I was to ask you, Paulo, if you look back to the Paulo non-AI and now Paulo AI, give me some of the contrast here in terms of the differences. What is the differences for you in your day to day in terms of, the previous you and the you now? Would you move forward without AI, or would that be even possible to move forward without AI?
well, it will be a step back, I think,
Hmm.
much more precise
Okay.
and much more active, trying to improve because I have time to think. So
Hmm.
whatever anyone that is in sales for a long time devote some time to preparation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I'm using taking more time to prepare than I did before, is that I'm preparing better.
So you're much higher, right, in terms of
Yeah,
where you
so
need to
I
be in the
can,
conversation.
so I can, if I go over several summaries of the same discussion with different clients, I can go using AI saying that this message here is not working. This is not giving me the response I need or want. So I need to polish this, and so I'm more precise on that. My learning is much more precise. It is time consuming. It's not that you were not going to. Oh, I'm not gonna need that much time to do that. You are going to take time. Everything takes time, and learning takes time, and improving takes time, and you are going to continue to have to do that. But I think you can prepare for more meetings and you can have more quality meetings than you had before. So it's a question of productivity, especially now that you do a lot of things online. So you don't go to the client as much as you used to do. So,
And so, Paulo, having said this, if I sign up with you to take a course of yours with neural selling, what can I expect? What are some of the advantages of, learning from you?
well, I think how the idea is how you can perform in a given situation. So if I'm making I'm moving to acquire clients. What are the things that I need to be attentive to,
Hmm.
and how do I do that? How do I deliver the message? How do I uh, make discovery and all that? Oh, it's a client that I must keep. It must stay with me forever, or for a longer time at least. How what are the kind of decisions that this client needs to make to stay, or to go to my become my client, leave the prospect status, and how you actually do that.
Hmm.
So if you are having a conversation and you just have pen and paper, how do you use those to have a conversation? Oh no, I have a wonderful PowerPoint deck. How do you use that?
Hmm.
That's the idea. That's the idea. And so it's science, because selling, especially complex sales,
Yep.
it is science based since 40, 50 years ago, and but it's skill based as well. So it's
So
about
I will learn AI. You will help me understand AI, and you will help me power what I do with AI. That's
yeah,
one
yeah,
aspect. But then, as we
yeah.
talked about before, we get the information, we get ourselves higher up on the chain of information that I need to be prepared. But then also you'll help me with the skills, right? When I'm in front of the clients, how do I
Yeah.
make it an effective meeting so that actually the decision is made in a desired
What
way?
tools you can use, or what techniques you can use to grab attention, to
Hmm.
hold attention? How
Hmm.
will you make sure that everybody leaves the meeting with the idea, the most important idea, so that whenever they are talking about that meeting, they remember what it was important for them to remember. All
Hmm.
remember the same thing. People will remember your meeting, but you can make them remember what is most important for them to remember to make a decision.
Hmm.
Remember, the goal is to make a decision.
Hmm.
Why is the buyer talk to a seller? Because they need to make a
Make a
decision.
decision. Yeah.
Make a decision basic as having another meeting, and as complex as making this new investment.
Hmm.
And so you have more than six people making a decision. This is complex by itself.
No, this was fantastic. Paulo, thank you so much for your time and your investment here and talking to me. Anything else you would like the audience to know that matters? Anything that I did not ask that you would like to share?
No, I think learning to use AI in anything is is learning. So you can't stop. You have
Hmm.
to find your
Continuous.
you have to find a way you need to learn how to interact with the AI model.
Hmm.
So and this takes time. It saves time in the end. But more important than time, it raises the quality bar on your interactions with the client.
No, this has been fantastic. Paulo, thank you so much. Looking forward to having more of these conversations. And this was the first one that we're having, and I really appreciate this. To me, this was
Uh,
fascinating, and I could spend probably hours and hours talking to you about this and specific, in terms of specific techniques as well, right? Because it's such a rich topic. I always say that selling is a science. Salespeople are not born, or the best salespeople in the world are not born. They are, it's hard work, period. The way you get
yeah,
good at it, like you get good at anything, right? You just got to go through the work. Even if you're born with talent, you have to work hard to be really successful. So thank you so much for this, and I'm looking forward to our next podcast. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Let me stop the taping. 1 second. Okay, and let me start the Fathom here. Just 1 second.